Hey, fellow movie enthusiasts. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, we're reviewing The Boys, Season 4 Episode 3 recap. Will it be a blockbuster sensation or a popcorn disaster? Grab your snacks, and let's find out. Episode 3 of The Boys Season 4 starts with a sign that all is not well with Homelander. Throughout the latest Vought conference, Homelander points out that Starlighters are the biggest threat to America, but mentally, he's definitely struggling. To take the focus away from him, Homelander announces Sister Sage and Firecracker as the two newest members of the Seven. He's also keeping one of the spots open for his son Ryan. There are cracks beginning to show in Vought's HQ too, especially as Sage continues to disagree with Homelander and his tactics. However, there's no denying that Firecracker is effective in her messaging. In fact, a random middle-aged guy shows up at Starlight HQ not long after, claiming that they house kids in the basement and he's there to save them. When he draws a gun, Frenchie appears and diffuses the situation by knocking him down. While this is going on, over at Newman's HQ, the team contemplate whether they start an anti-soup campaign and ban them outright. Robert Singer, one of the executive men, believes Vought has been calling the shots for far too long and it's time to change that, while Butcher uses Kessler in his crusade to try and get Ryan back, while Kimiko recruits Frenchie to join her in confronting her past and getting back at the traffickers. Over at the other side of Vought HQ, wants to try and flip A-Train to join their side. He's ready to turn and believes he could be their inside guy. That's probably for the best, given Sage has now taken over Ashley's position as CEO of the Seven. She immediately grills the team regarding the leaked footage from Crime Analytics. Deep is no longer in charge, given it's his department, and he's also in the firing line for this too. His stress spills over to his pet octopus, Ambrosius, whom he's currently dating. She suggests they take a vacation but Deep thinks it's way too risky. Poor thing, meets A-Train and uses the leverage of killing 3 people to try and get him to turn. Although he initially curses him out, it's clear A-Train is going to think about it. It can't come soon enough. Given over at Vought, Homelander kills a woman who confesses to giving Annie their data. Firecracker shows up to see Annie, who's incredulous over exactly why the vlogger hates her. It turns out she had a previous alias, Sparkler, and she came second place to Starlight in a competition. The reason for that hatred though stems from Annie making up a rumor about her having a gangbang with the judges. Not only that, she also cursed out Firecracker and called her fat too. This explains why she hates her so much and why she has a chip on her shoulder. Ryan shows up to see Butcher and while the pair hang out, he sees a more empathetic side to Butcher when he mentions the person he hurt. It's a very different style to Homelander's cold demeanor, and hearing his honesty about not being able to look after a kid and how scared he is to do right by Becca, certainly gets through to him. Elsewhere, Kimiko and Frenchie bust into the warehouse to find the traffickers. It's Frenchie's turn to not be sober, as he ends up hallucinating the whole time. Kimiko is on the offensive. He sees Colin, a bathtub, dead bodies and even little Nina too. It's a pretty cool and stylish segment. With everyone off doing side gigs, the only ones left to plant the bug at Vought on Ice are Huey and With Huey in the vents, he overhears Homelander giving some words of advice to Victoria regarding being proud of herself and living up to her legacy as a soup. Unfortunately, Huey sweats profusely and a drop lands on his shoulder. As he sniffs it, he immediately realizes Huey is in the vents and he chases after him. Chaos and bloodshed ensues as Huey tries to escape, but it's A-Train of all people who actually picks him up and moves him to safety. It's a shocking turn of events and rather ironic that it's super speed, the very thing that ruined Huey's life, that sets him up for being saved. A little calmer than before, Huey shows at the hospital and speaks to his mom. It turns out she left because she was depressed. It never went away and it ate away at her inside. Getting dressed was like climbing Everest and she even tried to kill herself. It was life or death for her, and that's why she eventually packed up her stuff and left Huey. Meanwhile, the Deep shows to see Sage and argues with her regarding the Crime Analytics Department fiasco. However, this quickly turns into a lustful sexual encounter between the pair, fueled by food. At same time, Ryan shows back up to see Homelander, who can smell Butcher on him. Homelander bemoans Ryan, believing that he's not good enough and eventually smashes the window. When Ryan hightails it away, Homelander hears a voice and begins seeing himself in the shattered remnants in the mirror. He's suffering from a clear mental breakdown and believes his need for love is a sickness. In order to stop that, he needs to go home. This episode, in specific, sees a team split out, each with their own challenges to cope with. Kimiko's pursuit of her history makes logic, as does Huey's with his mother. The discussion of depression is appropriate, as the season as a whole is about to delve further into this mental aspect. In any case, Homelander ends on a cliffhanger, setting up the next week's episode.